Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Gimmick Minute Wrestling Podcast, where we are upside down and excited for
Oh my
the
God.
latest episode of our show.
That's a fucking way to start it. I'm just trying to make it better. I don't know. Oh, oh my God.
The image was totally fine. Then all of a sudden, you're hanging from the ceiling. I was like, all right.
Oh God.
Great timing. Great timing. Well, hey, this is the Gimmick Minute Wrestling Podcast. My name is Jason. I am joined this week by my buddy Kevin. We do not have a third. Riley is supposed to record with us, but he ended up with some technical difficulties, so we'll have to get his take on what we're talking about when we chat again here soon, because we're gonna have to figure out a day to record next week, because Riley and I are both going to that Browns game, so we won't be here on Thursday, so maybe we'll have to do like a Tuesday or something like that. But I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll talk.
I mean, Wednesdays. I mean, I'm off. Like I said, I'm off the rest of the year and stuff. So whatever.
Wednesday would just be weird because he's traveling here, so I don't know what time. What time he's getting in, and he's got friends with him and stuff like that. So, and I don't know what time they'd be getting back on Friday.
Yeah, and he officially gave up trying.
Yes, I just saw that.
Yes. So.
Yeah. All right. So this week I thought we'd do something fun, man. Like, we typically try to talk about like what's current and what's going on in the world of professional wrestling, whether it be AEW, WWE, NXT, what have you. But this time we're getting close to the end of the year. I know AEW does have a pay-per-view coming up. They got their World's End show coming up, which is going to have kind of a, it's going to be weird how that kind of concludes, especially with everything that's going on with MJF and that. But I just kind of thought, it's a good time to like take some time and just reflect on the last year, right? We're coming to a close. We got 2 weeks left in the year. So for this episode, Kevin and I are going to go through our top 5 best storylines of 2023 and our top 5 holy shit moments of 2023. So these are our lists, what we thought is going to be the best. I think I'm going to go through my list, and then Kevin's going to let us know if he had that same moment on his list or if he had something different. I have a few honorable mentions too. So that's what I thought we'd do today. And then you can also send us your list. Just do so by hitting us up on X at Live Your Gimmick. That's the @ symbol followed by LIVYOURGIMMICK. Or you can leave us a comment on Apple, leave us a comment on Spotify. Just let us know how you're liking the show. But we definitely want to see your list of your top 5 holy shit moments and your top 5 best storylines. So let us know what you think we got right and so on and so forth. So I'll start off, I guess. Do you want to do best storylines first? Or you want to do holy shit moments first?
I mean, it's up to you. I mean, you can go back and forth if you want. If you want to do one from each,
yeah, we could.
Like,
we could.
Like, if you want to do all yours and just kind of go back and forth, and then I can go back and forth in mine. And that way, like I said, okay. I got mine next to me. I kind of cross off if I have anything that you have.
Well, let's just do the best story. Let's just do the best stories and go from that, and then we'll kind of end it with the holy shits, right? So number 5 for the best storylines of 2023 for me, I have the rise of LA Knight. Yeah. LA Knight's had a bit of a meteoric rise over the last, it's really, it's almost been more of kind of a half of a year, right? Like he started off with, he had that program with Bray towards the end of last year that put him on the map. But he really didn't have much going into Royal Rumble. He really didn't have, I don't think he had anything at WrestleMania. Am I correct?
I don't remember. If he did, I truly don't remember it. I don't think he did.
So, we didn't have too much going on, but all of a sudden, people are starting to take notice and he's starting to build momentum. And then they're going to Saudi Arabia and everybody's chanting his name. He's not even there. And then you just, all of a sudden, he's just a mainstay. Like he's almost to the point where, he's rubbing shoulders with main eventers. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I think just his ability to connect with the audience is on a different level. And kudos to, Triple H and the creative team and WWE for seeing that and giving him something to kind of hold on to, like, putting him in these main event situations to let that manifest more and let that build more.
I mean, if you think about it, and I didn't have him on actually either of my lists, which is not a knock or anything like that. But think about where he was, let's say, a year ago, with his whole Max Dupree, which I honestly, I know people shit on that, but like, I bet you he probably would have made that work somehow.
He was, and he kind of was, honestly. I mean, it was still entertaining for the most part, especially when he was doing that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I'd like to say I didn't have any of that, but I mean, I guess that'd be maybe an honorable mention for me, like, or I could put it in there somewhere, but yeah, absolutely, like, and there's more to it, even at his age or whatever, like how long he's been around. Like, I think there's we're gonna get more from LA Knight. You know what I mean? So, so yeah, that's
yeah,
that's a good one.
All right, cool. And then number 4, I have the friendship between Adam Cole and MJF. This has been, even though it's cooled off a little bit at this point because, the supposed injury to Adam Cole and he hasn't been around, and they still kind of bring it in. It's just, AEW tends to not, I don't know, focus on one thing for too long. But that storyline has been by far the best storyline AEW's ever done. And that's the only reason why it made this list. That my only other AEW, I have Who's the Devil as an honorable mention, and I have Adam Copeland and Christian Cage as an honorable mention because that's kind of new still. But this is the only actual AEW storyline that made my list, and that's because of how.
So this is actually number 5 on my storyline for stories.
Okay, perfect.
And it's kind of, I mean, since you mentioned a couple of your honorable like the only other things I really have AEW like for storylines honorable mention is kind of the Christian. You know what I mean? I think he's been probably kind of like the second best thing AEW's, just the whole I'm your father type thing, and then with Edge. And then like just the fact that them doing All in London is kind of an honorable mention to me too. That was almost my number 5, just because no matter what, I mean, like that, it still was like a big thing for them and stuff that came out. But yeah, 100%, like storyline, like you said, like by far probably the best storyline they've. Well, it's not even by far. It is the best storyline they've ever done. So
yeah. I mean, the backstage segments, the videos, like with them going to the restaurant and getting drunk on sake and double closelining the waiter and going to work out together.
Originally,
and all that.
I had like MJF turning face was to me one of the biggest storylines. So I kind of like intertwined it with Adam Cole.
And it really is intertwined. And even this Devil storyline could still possibly be intertwined. We don't really know yet, until that reveal happens. It's going to be hard to say, but it's just, I mean, it's so funny. Like just seeing a different side of MJF and even really seeing a more entertaining side of Adam Cole.
And you got Ed and Roddy.
Like this is a side of Adam Cole I never.
Roddy and all them too. Like, I feel like they're almost like a kind of like, small piece of it or whatever. You know what I mean? And I mean, just everything they've done. So.
Well, and that's kind of the crux of being a good story. Not only is it benefiting the people that are the main people that are part of it, it's benefiting all these extra side characters too, right? And that's what makes a story good, is having not only the main characters but also these side characters as well to help build it more. And now you're seeing Roddy getting more TV time, probably just about anybody. Did you see Marina Shafir's tweet?
No.
Yes, Roddy does yell my name like that too. Please stop asking.
That's so hot.
Marina!
Dude, last night wrestling with the fucking neck brace on.
Yeah. Well, it was off, but then he immediately put it back on after the match was over. He's something else, man. And that's another thing. I mean, you're seeing a different personality from him because, you know, after Undisputed Era ended, he floundered in NXT. He had the whole thing with the Diamond Mind, and there was a little bit there, but he was still just very bland, and his character really didn't go anywhere. Maybe that's just because, you know, he really didn't want to be there, you know, and it was kind of obvious. But yeah, I mean, you're seeing character work on kind of a different level for him. There was hints of it in NXT. Was it him or was it Kyle O'Reilly who was on the therapist couch or whatever when they did that? That was like one of the funniest things Undisputed Era ever did.
Yeah,
when Loomis was kidnapping him,
because like when he first joined him and stuff, like you didn't see that like side of him ever. He just was in there and just was like, you know,
he was the Messiah, the backbreaker, and blah blah blah. So, all right. So where are we at? Number 3 then? So my number 3 storyline this year has been the Bloodline storyline, specifically the evolution of Jey Uso. You know, the Bloodline, like everybody that says, oh, the Bloodline storyline's dead, you're not really paying attention because everything Jey Uso has done from the time that he left the Bloodline, which happened this year, which in a moment, you know, so these are the things that happened this calendar year. Sami Zayn turned on the Bloodline, and then the Usos defected from the Bloodline. We had the Bloodline Civil War, and then we also had Jey Uso defecting completely from the Bloodline. So all that happened this year, right? And those are all big moments that have happened, and all as a result of the storyline that's been building over the past couple of years with Roman and everything. And everything Jey does going forward is still going to be connected to the story of the Bloodline because he's family. There's going to be a point where eventually that all comes back to a head somewhere down the road. And everything that he's doing now is going to matter even more when that happens. And I have full faith in that they're going to keep this alive through storylines like that. And the way that Jey Uso has turned into a singles competitor, and even Jimmy to a certain extent, how he's turned into a singles competitor coming out of being a tag team wrestler for the last decade has been pretty damn impressive.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, I didn't have Jey specifically on my storylines, but that's a good honorable mention, I would say, for me. Yeah, I mean, 100%. I mean, he's got his thing going on, whereas Jimmy's still tied in with the Bloodline just because he's on SmackDown, obviously. But like, but it's not that. But it's not that Jey, even though he's on a different show and he's got his thing going off, you can always go back to that. You know what I mean? Like it's just always there.
Well, and I 100% feel like we're gonna get Jimmy versus Jey at WrestleMania.
Yeah. I mean,
you know what I mean? Like I think we're gonna start seeing that ramp up maybe at the Royal Rumble. Like I could see maybe one of them eliminating the other, and it you know sets something in motion. But yeah, man, this storyline's not done by any stretch of the imagination. Just because Roman's not around all the time, or been around less, I guess. But think of all the big moments I just mentioned that Roman was there for.
Yeah,
and those are the things.
And I can't wait till we get closer to Royal Rumble time because, like,
you know,
I've wanted to talk about who we think like the Final Four are going to be. I've already got mine, but we'll say that for another day.
Yeah. What do you think? Speaking of that, real quick though, what do you think of? I guess tomorrow night on SmackDown, it's going to end up being AJ Styles versus Randy Orton versus LA Knight to face Roman Reigns at Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Did you see AJ came back last week? Looking jacked to the gills.
Yeah. A lot of speculation about that. I know.
Dude,
I know.
It's been off.
That's what people that's what people don't realize. Like what do you do when you're off the road? You just train. You can actually eat well.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Like these guys eat like shit when they're on the road, but then when they take a couple of months off and they're home and they can, you know, eat stuff and actually work out, like it makes a difference on your body when you actually I know I know those of us that don't go to the gym every day don't understand that, but when you actually go to the gym every day and you work out, eventually it shows results.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I mean, you're gonna have a couple of them in the Rumble. Like, it's just a matter of like who do you, of those three are like not gonna be in the Rumble. You know what I mean? Like, not to say they couldn't still be in the Rumble and wrestle Roman, but like, you know, odds are they won't. So it's like, who do you not want in the Rumble? Basically, you know, I can see Orton winning personally.
Right. Yeah, I could too. I mean, it's gonna be really interesting, man. Like, this is the one year where you really almost can't put a finger on it, because you could see Punk winning, you could see Orton winning, you could see Cody winning, you could see LA Knight winning. Like, there's, you know, you could see Jay winning. Exactly. I mean, you could even see even see a Solo Sikoa scenario winning the Royal Rumble.
Not that I would say this is my final four, but like just now with like Punk and some of these other people back. But you imagine like if the final like three were Jimmy, Jay, and Solo. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that'd be crazy. Yeah,
and maybe The Rock. No,
that'd be crazy. That would make it, if The Rock decided to come back, and that would just throw a whole monkey wrench in the whole thing. All right, my number 2 storyline has been the rise of the Judgment Day. All rise for the Judgment Day. I will admit, at times, the Judgment Day opening up the show or interrupting Cody opening up the show every week did get a little old for maybe a couple of weeks. But just from where they started, taking this faction over from Edge, and just kind of all the big moments that they've been a part of over the last year. I mean, Dom has become one of the most biggest heat magnets in the wrestling business. I mean, the dude can't even pick up a microphone without getting booed out of the building. You got Priest, who won Money in the Bank, who's kind of come into his own as a star in WWE. You have, you know, Finn Balor, who's just a constant. I mean, he really can't do much. He can't really do much wrong. And then, of course, Rhea, and how good Rhea has been, and then even the addition of JD McDonough and their new member, R-Truth. I mean, dude, just the Judgment Day is just
that puts them
for even
as
bigger
greatest faction of all time, right there. Just the addition of him. So,
right there, yeah. Well, it's kind of funny. Like, I'm starting to draw some parallels with R-Truth and Judgment Day as Sammy and the Bloodline.
Yeah, 100%. Almost like
just kind of that comic relief, and
that, like a parody. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because Sammy kind of weaseled his way in by doing just kind of being there and showing up.
It's almost like a semi parody of it, I guess. Do you have
the Judgment Day on your list at all anywhere? Okay, all right. So, what about the Judgment Day, or what about, I guess?
I mean, they've been the catalyst for Monday Night Raw. You know what I mean?
I mean, they really have. I mean, it's almost like everything is run through them for the most part. Like, they're like,
as much as I think like Rhea is like the leader and stuff. Like, to me, Dominic's the star. You know what I mean? Like, as much as Finn's Finn, Damian Priest is just, you know, I've always thought Damian Priest was pretty damn good NXT days into now or whatever. But like Dominic is just I can't even put into words just how, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just such a good job, but like even like off camera with stuff, like just how he's living it. You know what I mean? Like, both of them still calling, like, you know, his dad piece of shit and all this and that, like, all, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. I don't know. Yeah. Dominic's he knows it too. He's like, it's not like he's bad. You know what I mean? Like, people, it's like he thinks, oh, he's just so terrible, so that's why they hate him. No, he's just so good. He's so good at making you believe that he's just terrible at whatever.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, his in ring work's gotten a lot better, and his storytelling has been good. I mean, it's amazing for somebody as young as he is to be put in this position
Mm-hmm.
without even going through like the NXT system or anything like that to be on the level that he is on. It's pretty incredible. So I mean, I got nothing but respect for Dominic and what he's been able to accomplish, and Judgment Day as a whole, man. Like they've just been, they've literally just been the, like you said, the catalyst for pretty much everything that's happened on Monday Night Raw. So I thought that they deserve to be on my list. My number one, the Hard Times of Cody Rhodes. I just love what they've done with Cody Rhodes since WrestleMania. I mean, the whole build up to WrestleMania was fantastic, and that happened within this calendar year. So he won the Royal Rumble, had the amazing lead up to Mania and his match with Roman. Didn't get the job done, but then what happens? He immediately goes into a program with Brock Lesnar. Not only does he come out of that, like, not only did he hold his own, he shined in that. You know what I mean? It's hard to outshine Lesnar, but Cody kind of found a way to do it. Does that make sense?
That's actually, so kind of the Cody Lesnar trilogy is my number 4. Just, I mean, even though, I mean, it was a story, you know what I mean? Like, it was, because I don't, we didn't really truly find out why Lesnar was doing that, maybe. Did we? If we did, I don't remember.
I think there was a thing where he just, it was almost like it was like a lack of respect thing,
Yeah,
but then at the end of it, he earned his respect. That's kind of what I took out of it. Like, oh, you weren't even here, and now all of a sudden you're the guy. You got to go through me to prove it.
But yeah,
that was kind of
like,
what,
that's
how I took it.
We've already said my 5 and 4, which is good. But like number 4, like I said, the story of Cody and the trilogy they had. That was, it was spaced out. It was done real well. And at the end of the day, it had a actually kind of like feel good feeling to it. So, but although you're number 1, you didn't finish
without doubt. And I think,
I know this.
What do you mean?
Story.
That was the Hard Times of Cody. That was my number 1 storyline. Well, yeah, he has. Well, it probably won't finish until at least 2024. But I don't know. And on top of that, though, too, he's just been every major storyline that's been on Monday Night Raw, and even a little bit on SmackDown. He's been smack down in the center, smack dab in the center of it. So I mean, Cody is just kind of just that consummate guy, and he's bringing other people up with him, which is great too. You know what I mean? And the fact that he is a babyface and he's getting babyface reactions every time he comes to the arena, like, it's not getting stale, it's not getting old. Like, he is that guy. Every time the song hits and everybody still does the whoa,
the non-champion.
Cody is
basically
just turning into exactly. And I feel like eventually he's gonna have to win it, but to finish that story. But we'll get more into that as the months go on. But so clearly my list was a little bit different than yours, because you really only had 2 things that I had. So what were your 3? All right,
well,
your 3,
a
2,
couple
and 1?
of mine are, they're stories, but they're almost kind of like momentous things, I guess. I don't know if that is kind of the same long lines of the story.
Okay.
So I had an honorable mention one, believe it or not, is Roman getting to be champion at 1,000 days. That's just kind of another honorable mention, just because it is a historic thing. We haven't, especially in WWE, haven't seen that since, I mean, Hogan was the last one. You know what I mean? And that was in the 80s. So for the reason I think it's a great story, momentous occasion, is just because with the times how they are now, even the last decade, 2 decades or more, it's almost unfathomable, unmatched. I don't care about the part-time shit, any of that. It doesn't matter. He's still been you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
he's still all this time been champion. So that was, I almost had that in my list, but I kind of just put it as an
Mhm.
honorable mention. Um, yeah,
Okay.
and I also, okay, so number 3 is kind of along the same lines, but it's Gunther, the story of Gunther and the rise of Gunther and becoming the longest reigning IC champion ever. Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
So
I had
so
Gunther's
just so
dominance as
basically,
one of my
it more
honorable
along the
mention
lines, like I
ones,
said,
so
beating
I'm right
that
there with.
record and still going with it. It's not like he beat it and then like 2 days later he lost it. So, where's the end in sight? Where does he go from here? So it's like the rise
Mhm.
of him getting over the whole, oh my god, he's not Walter anymore. I don't think we even care about that anymore. He's Gunther. You know what I mean? He is who he is. Um, so I had he
Oh
on my
yeah,
list.
yeah.
Okay,
And to that point too, what we were just talking about with the good storylines. Think of all the people that have benefited from having moments with
Miz.
Gunther, like Chad Gable,
The
like a
stuff he's done with the
Bronson
Miz is
Reed,
just
or the
it's
Miz. Yeah, I
put
mean
Miz
Johnny
out
Gargano.
there as a
Yeah,
different level. Like, he's not all just a dork and goof. You know what I mean? Like, he can go and he could actually, excuse me,
right.
tell a good story, have a different side of himself, basically. So
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, so he's brought all these people up kind of with him on this dominant run, and we've gotten some of the best matches we've seen on Monday Night Raw in a long time because of his reign, and one, people having matches with him, but even people having matches trying to get a shot against him have
yeah,
just all been great matches that
yes.
they've had on Monday
Um,
Night Raw. There's been a
so
string
my
of just
number
amazing
2
ones.
is kind of, well, it's a little bit of Sammy Mania, but it's also Sammy. It's basically Sammy
Okay.
and KO versus the Usos main event at WrestleMania. I know that's not really a story, but it is part of the story that they've been telling.
Yeah.
And it was a culmination, the moment,
Yeah,
to
I mean, it was a
me,
culmination of.
maybe one of the best WrestleMania made. I know it was night 1, but I don't care. It was still a main event. It was the first time. It was the first time ever the tag titles were in the main event. It's only the second
Yeah,
time there's ever
without
been
a
a
doubt.
tag main event in a WrestleMania, and it was, to me, it was 5-star, 6-star match. To me, is one of the better WrestleMania matches ever. And the moment, but it wasn't just the moment of celebration. It wasn't just
Yeah.
the moment of what happened. It was, again, the story within the story and the story inside of the match. Because the ending with Sammy and the haluva
Mm.
kicks and the stairs and the build up and the anticipation was just, I mean, it's one of those things where,
Hmm.
and we talk about all the time, like sometimes we'll be watching pay-per-view, like, or we're texting each other or something, and we'll come back and talk to each other, like, dude, when you do this at our age, I know it sounds stupid, but when you're watching, right, and you see a moment like this, like, it takes a lot to do that to anybody or whatever. And that's one of those moments. So to
Yeah.
me, like, that was almost my number one, believe it or not, just because it was just such a great culmination.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I don't disagree with you. And that honestly, like, I I'm a little sad for myself. I didn't have that as an honorable mention, because now that you're bringing that up, like, yeah, you're 100% right, because it was a great build. It was a great story within the match, and just the culmination of the ending and everything, like that goosebump feeling. Like, you don't, you and I have been, we're 40, and we've been watching this since we were like 3, 5, 6 years old, right? So we've seen so much, and we've seen it all. So to still get
yeah,
those moments, like, that's a
yeah. Like I
testament
said,
to those
I
guys and
mean,
how well they put that
I,
together.
yeah. I'm sorry, I don't know where I was going with that, but just disagree. I disagree with, yeah, the whole.
No, you're good. You're good.
You almost feel like you're like an 8-year-old kid again. That's what I meant. You know what I mean? It's just like,
All right.
yeah.
So then, what's your number one?
So I'm gonna hold off my number one.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Until we get. I don't, but
Okay.
well.
Do you have another honorable mention? I mean, I'm out of them
Okay, well,
on the best
all
stories,
right.
so
My number
we're at
one
number
is
one for
CM
you,
Punk coming
and
back
yours is different than
to
mine.
WWE.
So.
It's just CM Punk. CM Punk in general. The reason I was holding off my.
So okay,
So he's my number one in both.
so
I'm just
I
gonna say
have
it.
I have him in my holy shit moments.
That's
Then
why I was
so
trying to hold off. He's my number one in
okay,
both because he's him returning.
okay, all right.
Is kind of an oh my god, but like just the story of all year, the speculation is CM Punk.
Mm-hmm. And really too, since he's been back, the intriguing storytelling that's going on. Like he started off with that kind of like really vanilla promo, but then got a little bit more intense as things have kind of mounted up. And then he signed with Raw, and you had that back and forth with him and Seth, which I don't even think we got a chance to talk about because we haven't recorded since that happened. But I thought both guys did a very good job there, and Seth even kind of a nod to Hangman in his promo, like almost verbatim taking what Hangman said. But even that, like CM Punk talking about himself in third person, a lot of people didn't really pick up on that, but I noticed that like that's
No.
not something characteristically he typically does. Because he said to Seth, CM Punk is going to enter the Royal Rumble, and when CM Punk wins the Royal Rumble, maybe CM Punk will challenge you. Like that's not characteristic of him typically. So like I'm very intrigued with
I am too.
what is going on.
You know what I
with
mean?
him.
Like I just
So
I don't I can't think right now with it, and like I just can't put it into words, but it's it's gonna be real interesting in the next few months. It really is because just you know what I mean, like I
no,
don't
I
know,
agree with you. I agree with you.
but
Yeah. Well, so I guess we could dive into the holy shit
okay.
moments, and my number 5 is CM Punk returning to WWE, and I have it at number 5, pure and simple for the reason that it just happened, and I think it's just like there's so much still that we don't know and what it's going to lead to, but just that moment of holy shit, he actually is back, just to me is I think I just didn't want to put it higher because it's like we've talked about it so much, and I wanted to kind of give some flowers to things that happened prior to him returning and things of that nature. But man, like that's that moment, like you talk about that kind of goosebump feeling, like when you hear that music hit and see him walk out there. Like that's one of those
I
moments
know
where you're just
it's
like, wow,
almost one
man,
of those
like
things
I
where it's
did
like,
not think that
okay,
was
it's gonna
ever going to
happen,
happen, and it happened.
but I mean, it's probably not. Oh shit, it happened.
Mm-hmm. Right, exactly. Then my number 4 was another return of sorts, but it was the Savio Vega and then Carlito helping Bad Bunny at Backlash. Dude, when Carlito's music hit, wow, that place just went absolutely bananas, and just absolutely crazy. Like it was such a moment to see that, Vega coming out and having his moment, and then Carlito getting his moment. Like overall, that match was a ton of fun, but those two surprises. I mean, we knew Vega was there because they had shown him leading up to it, but man, just seeing all that happen, like
My
just
whole
that nostalgia
an
feeling
honorable
and everything,
mention
it was very strong with
moment
that.
for me is actually the crowd during Bad Bunny's entrance during that match. Like that's kind of like a holy shit, like that was fucking badass. You know what I mean? So
Okay, all
I know
right,
it's kind of minor or whatever, but like I was like, holy shit, this is
yeah,
awesome. Like
yeah.
just Bad Bunny coming out in general. Like it kind of made you like say, holy shit, that's pretty sweet. Honestly, that whole
Yeah.
pay per view, it was probably I would put that in like top 3 of their pay-per-views the entire year. I know the crowd helped and whatnot. Because remember, that was the one Michael said, like, "Oh, I'm not watching no fucking Backlash or whatever." And you and I were like, "Dude, that thing was just as good as half of WrestleMania."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
You gotta watch the
so
show.
I know the crowd. Like I said, the crowd helped and everything, but it wasn't just the
Yeah.
crowd in that
Yeah.
match.
Yeah.
The stuff with Selena Vega, honestly, that's kind of another, like, that would be like almost like an honorable mention, like, story for me,
Mhm.
was just her emotion. You know what I mean? And being able to do that. So, even that whole show, like I
Yeah.
said, that could be an honor, like I said, another honorable mention, like, moment / story for me, was the underratedness of that pay per view.
Yeah. And I think we're in store for some more with, you know, the shows coming to Australia, the shows coming to Berlin this year. Like I'm really hoping that we get some pretty hot crowds for stuff like that, because I mean I want to see every show in Puerto Rico after watching that SmackDown before, and then watching that
Yeah.
you know, the Backlash pay-per-view after. I mean, it was just fucking incredible, man. So yeah, but that was number 4, just because that was probably one of the biggest pops, is Carlito coming back. And then my
Okay, that
number
was my number
3
4.
was Hangman Adam
Yes.
Page is apparently a vampire. The whole was it okay? The holy shit moment of him drinking Swerve's blood, and for as polarizing as it is, and as you know,
Yes.
as
That whole match
much
was
as we
a
can
holy
question
shit
whether or not it was a
moment,
good idea,
honestly.
it was still very
like, that
memorable.
was like, you know,
Yeah.
one of
Yeah.
AEW, like,
Yeah.
take away, I know the blood drinking, but like, and I know it was gruesome and it was violent and everything, but like, there was the whole build up to that match and the storytelling with those two, you know what I mean? Like, and it kind of just went away, which is fine. But I don't think so. I still think there's going to be something that could come out of it. But and we'll see. Like, hopefully they. I don't know. I just feel like with this
Yeah,
Continental
there's going to be
Classic,
a
it's
third
kind
one
of
down the
cooled
road
off some
somewhere.
things. Like, I felt like Swerve was so hot out of that match, and now it's kind of yeah.
Well, he's still hot because he's a part of the Continental Classic.
I
Like, he's
caught
right there in
glimpses of
with it. But
only
did
saw
you
him.
see the backstage with him and MJF last night? You gotta watch the so there's a whole thing with him and Joe backstage,
Oh yeah,
and then
okay.
as he
I
was
saw that.
turning, he found like one of the face covers on the floor, and it was outside of Swerve's locker room. So he had a confrontation with Nana, but then Swerve came out, and those two went back and forth for a good maybe 5 minutes, like talking about their history and talking about like just different things, and kind of planting the seeds for, you know, maybe a potential match down the road. But it was really good. I mean, both guys were really, like, neither one of them, like, a lot of times when you have like a backstage with MJF, it's very clear that MJF comes out of it
Can I
as
say
the,
something off
you know,
the
smelling
record?
like a rose. But
Well, not off
in
the
this
record,
one,
but
it was both of them.
isn't it? Somebody made a comment. I sorry, I just thought of this because it made me laugh. Somebody made a comment. They said, "So you mean to tell me the devil has been doing all this stalking and all this stuff to MJF, for weeks and weeks and weeks, just for his men to challenge for the Ring of Honor tag team titles?" I'm sorry. That
Yeah.
popped me hard today. Okay. Anyway, yeah. So that was number 4.
That is good. That is good. That's funny. Yeah. And that kind of makes, and that's what makes me think that Adam Cole has something to do with it too, because, you know, that's those were important for Adam Cole. So that
No,
was
I
the
mean, we've
only
already done.
AEW thing I had
I
on
mean,
my
we've
list.
done
Do you have
2 of
anything
mine
else
already,
AEW for your top
basically,
5?
because I kind of gave away Punk as an oh my god moment. But actually, I'll replace the Punk one with one of my own. I have an honorable mention, unless you have it as one of yours.
Yeah.
So.
I have an AEW honorable mention, but it was just when the Gun Club came out to Many Men by 50 Cent, because that was a holy shit moment for me, because that entrance was fucking awesome.
Oh, no, go ahead. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, what were you gonna say? So number 3 for me was
Okay, that's
Hangman
an
as a
honorable
vampire,
mention of
and then
mine.
number 2 for
Yes.
me is Sammy hitting Roman with the chair at the Royal Rumble. Like, dude, to me though, that just set the whole tone for the whole year. You know what I mean? Like that moment, the culmination of that story, and Sammy turning on him like that that was awesome. Like just awesome. So I can't. That was another one of those moments that we talked about where, you know, just the goosebumps and just the like, and then Jay walking out and just everything that happened with that is just was just fucking awesome to me. So that was my number 2, and I'm gonna save my
Okay,
number
so
1.
your number
I'll let
one,
you
I
kind of
probably
talk a
know
little
where
bit
it is.
because my
It's
number 1's a
probably
little bit different than all the rest.
on mine somewhere. So I'll kind of say I'm just gonna not really kind of because I'm all scrambled now. So I'll just give a couple here. But okay, so one of my, this is actually number 5, was the Logan Paul Ricochet collision at the Royal Rumble. Just because it was just not that there was any kind of like, you know, I mean, but it was
Okay, yeah,
pretty.
I like that.
Holy shit,
That was good.
that was badass. The timing was more than anything to me impeccable, and the fact that they fucking really kill each other and the way they, you know, did it was really really well. Um.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you could almost say
Right.
Logan Paul's
Exactly.
entire run to this point has been a holy
The
shit
Rock
moment because
coming out.
it's like, holy shit, how does he do that?
Okay.
I have that as an honorable
Because I
mention.
had
Yeah. The
originally
Rock showing
I
up
had
on
originally had
SmackDown, just
Sammy
man,
turning, but I
the pop and
moved
the
and I had The
impact of
Rock as an
that.
honorable mention, but I kind of
The only,
moved them around because of something else. But yeah, you kind of once things started, like you started thinking, but it was still
yeah,
like awesome, you know, moment.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason I left that on the honorable mention list is just because it hasn't gone anywhere. Like it was a one time thing. You know what I mean? It hasn't led to anything more significant as of now.
Yeah.
So that's why that one was an honorable
Another kind of
mention for
honorable
me. But yeah,
mention was
that
just
just that
the
moment was
whole
just incredible.
sale of WWE kind of like being finalized. Just kind of like, wow, this is actually a reality now. You know what I mean? Even though we do everything with
Yeah,
comment and stuff, like you just for the first time, pretty much ever, it's not owned by McMahon. You know what I mean? So that's no, really,
right.
yes.
Yeah, it's not even really run by McMahon at this
Let's
point
see.
right
Okay,
now,
so my number
which is
2
even more
was actually
incredible.
the
Yeah.
Usos turning on Roman. Was just my holy shit moment of the year. Just with everything was a crown was
Okay.
it Jimmy first, you know,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So it was Jimmy
I'm out too.
first,
Yeah,
or
so that was
like Jimmy
kind
was
of
kind
like
of on the
one of my
outs,
holy shit.
and then Jay
That was
did that
actually my
whole
number
thing where
2, just
guess what,
because
you're
like
out and I'm out too, and yeah,
Usos turn
that was
kind of
awesome.
the fall or whatever. So that's really all I got. I've got something else that I didn't even have. This was the thing I thought about on my way home, and like, you know, it should be pretty high up on like my oh my god, like holy shit moments of the year. But I'll let you go ahead.
Okay. All right, so my honorable
Mm-hmm.
mention, I had Jimmy turning on Jay at SummerSlam, like that moment where he pulled Jay out, cost him the title against Roman. Like that was up on my list, but then I kind of moved a few things around, but I left it in as an honorable mention because it was a huge moment. But my number 1,
Yeah,
and
that's
it
what
kind
I
of
knew you were gonna
brings
say
everything
because
down a
that
little bit,
was yeah.
but my number 1 holy shit moment of the year was the passing of Bray Wyatt. Yeah. And the more I thought about it, like while I'm pulling this list, I mean, there was nothing, and you know, even Riley would probably attest to this as well. I mean, there was just nothing that rocked me more this past year than that moment, and just the, you know, and it's so unfortunate to say that, but I mean, it's just, the impact that the impact is going to be felt, I think, for a long time. And it was real nice to hear that WWE had moved him to a Legends contract, and all the proceeds from anything sold of his merchandise and all his stuff goes to his family. Like that's awesome. That they're, I would expect nothing less, but the fact that, and they don't talk about that. It took his dad coming out and confirming it and saying it, but just overall, man, like it just
inside
it
the ring,
sucks,
outside the ring,
but
real
just
kayfabe, definitely the most.
Yeah, I think we had
it's been one of the most shocking moments the last few years, honestly. I mean, you can't compare it to some of the other things that have happened, maybe with people that aren't even allowed to be mentioned. You know what I mean? In WWE, that's obviously the number one most shocking thing ever. But but as far as lately, especially this, we're just talking this year, just because how even just talk about us on here, with Mike too, for weeks and weeks and months and months and months. Bray Wyatt. When that Fiend character debuted, I would say if you went back all the episodes that we've done, the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of episodes that we've done, a good majority of them, we're talking about Bray Wyatt or the Fiend or something. Especially when the Fiend came out, I feel like that's all we talked about for months. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm.
I mean, we had whole segments dedicated to breaking down Firefly Funhouse episodes. So I mean, it's and how entertaining those were. I mean, that's what we talked a lot about all those.
I don't want to say it.
Just the brilliance that man had and everything that went into it.
Undertaker, but he's almost like that character of this generation, to where it was you could see it heading down that path. Because when the Undertaker first came out, it was, you were creeped out by him, but it was a clean creeped out. You know what I mean? Just because he was just this stone-faced person. But you know what? When I was a kid, I was fucking scared to death of the Undertaker. When he locked Ultimate Warrior in that casket, I cried two times I ever cried watching wrestling. One was when the Warrior beat Hogan at WrestleMania 6.
Yeah, dude.
And two was when the Warrior was locked in the coffin because I thought he was dead. So fast forward that to a ramped up version of somebody.
Yeah, you thought you saw somebody die on TV.
You know what I mean? But it doesn't mean he was going to be Fiend, but he was going to be a part of, you know what I mean? There was so much there to offer. You know what I mean? Even if it wasn't going to be in-ring work. So, yeah, that was the thing. I was driving home, and I was because I had done this list, a little bit at work or whatever, just thinking stuff. I redid it today a little bit because I already had it from last week or whatever. And I was when you texted us today, I was I'm going to revise it. And I was driving home. I was oh my God, how come this is not on my list? So that was what I was thinking about.
Yeah. It kind of hit me the same way.
It's more or less. It's more or less it's an
it is a holy shit moment,
not an
in ring holy shit moment, seeing something happen, but just overall.
Oh my God.
Right. Yeah. Just that void is going to be felt for forever. So, I know we had a whole episode dedicated to Bray Wyatt. So if you haven't heard it, if you're listening to this, go back and listen in the archives for that episode. It's, Kevin and I just basically talking about, the memories and our favorite moments of his and stuff like that. So I don't want to get too deep in the woods and that stuff because, we have a whole episode on it, but yeah, man, when I was thinking of the things that happened this year, that is 100% number one on my list of just shocking moments. And, and hopefully hopefully we're not shocked like that in 2024. Because, the crazy thing is if we were to make this list the year prior, his return would have been number one on my 2022 list, so it's but, Yeah. So, but yeah, man, like it's it is what it is. But I don't know. I feel like we need to at least find some levity to end the episode on. But is there
Honestly,
anything else that you
I'm kind
saw
of
this
glad we
week
did this
on
show this week
TV,
because just
WWE or
with
AEW that stuck out to you at
craziness in
all?
my house and getting ready for holidays and stuff, I didn't get a chance to get into much. I hate. I guess this isn't really a good thing, but hopefully it turns out to be a positive thing. But
No, okay, all right.
everything with Kenny Omega, I hope hopefully he pulls through. And I thought what Jericho did last night was really cool. That was really
Oh
good.
yeah, the diverticulitis. Yeah,
Even
that's rough.
CJ Perry, God, you saw the infection through
It
her
was.
finger,
Yeah, that was well done.
dude. Did you see the pictures?
Yeah, she got a
Oh, her
splinter,
finger,
and it
man!
turned
Like
into a
the
5-day
finger all
hospital
cut up
stay and
post
surgery.
surgery and
Like
stuff,
that's
like up her
crazy.
arm. Like she's lucky. She's
Yes,
lucky
it's
she
disgusting.
got through that and it was okay. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, fuck.
I mean, I still would, but
Still
yeah,
would.
the finger's
Come
gross.
on. He could have chopped both her arms off.
Sorry, I had
Come
to.
on.
Had to.
Jesus.
Oh shit.
Oh, I'm not sorry. He's never going to meet me. He's probably never going to hear this. So
Sorry, Miro.
watch. He's probably like a secret listener. We just never know. Yeah. I was going to say, sorry, Miro, but Kevin Crush.
You start seeing Memphis, Tennessee pop up on the listener thing frequently. No, but yeah,
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll try to think. I mean, Roman was back on Friday, and he's going to be on this episode. You got the AJ Styles return, which we talked about. Raw was a really good episode, like really good. Just even Ivar and Tozawa had a really good match. Tozawa is one that's been fun.
I should see
and then
that.
The whole JD McDonough thing with the loser leaves Judgment Day, and then he lost.
Looking bad, just bad at. Like I said, I love it because it's not campy.
Yeah,
it's all very heelish. It's coming off heelish, but I just feel like he's neither. He's just Drew. Yeah, he's just Drew. Because I feel like he would do that to like Damian Priest or Dominic.
He's just being himself.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
he's
the same shit.
He's just being Drew, and I think.
Mm-hmm.
If this was the Drew that was champion, I mean, would have been so much better. You know what I mean? Like that, like you said, that campy, like, it's almost kind of like they had the same writers working with him as they did with Roman with the whole suffer and succotash shit. Like that was the version of Drew that we were getting during that time. And it just didn't connect. But this guy connects, like, he connects 110%.
With just the viciousness, man.
You're right.
Dude,
that whole segment with those two, that promo that they cut between the two of them, was great.
Past Monday I saw when he did the slam to him. Was it on the stairs or something? I feel like, or he did, yeah. That was violent as shit, man. So
yeah, like the Alabama slam, or yeah. It was.
I think at the end of the day, like,
and even when he took Sammy out 2 weeks ago, it was real violent too. When he worked the leg and stuff in the backstage
WWE
area,
really ramping towards something big when it comes to Rumble Mania. AEW, it's we'll see. You know what I mean? It's just they've got to pay it off with this like storyline.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, dude.
Yes, I saw that.
Did you see that there's a very strong possibility that Warner Brothers Discovery is going to get Monday Night Raw? So what's that mean for AEW? Like, where do they? I can't even begin to fathom. Like, anything from TNT that they could possibly get as a TV deal is a step down. Like they're gonna have to like reevaluate and rebuild. Like I just don't. And then Tony Khan, like he had before CW went to NXT or NXT went to CW, he had a chance to get a Ring of Honor show on CW, but he opted not to do it because he wants to bundle the Ring of Honor content
it's definitely not
with his AEW stuff and sell it as a package. And that to me is not a good business strategy. Like I just you got to diversify.
Like,
you know what I mean? Like
AEW though? Oh yeah, SmackDown's going back.
I don't know because of their relationship, and there's still a relationship with because they still have SmackDown on USA. So I don't. SmackDown's going to UFC. Yeah. So with SmackDown being on USA, I don't see it. Like supposedly WWE hasn't put any type of like non-compete clause on. So like there's a potential that AEW could still stay as a part of that lineup, but
that's what I'm wondering.
I don't know, man. I really don't know.
Fight TV
but then they would probably
or,
get bumped down to like Discovery Channel or like True TV or something like that.
Not Fight TV,
but they're not going to.
Sorry,
if they just go to a straight subscription service,
shit.
Unless it's like a Netflix or
Vice. Go to Vice. Go to Vice. Okay. Well, True TV, but True TV is I think affiliated with Warner Brothers. Yeah,
there's like True TV. Yeah, Vice. There you go. Warner Brothers. Yeah. I don't know, man. Like it's gonna be really interesting to see where that chip falls, and then when that happens, like what? Because Tony Khan's still having press conferences saying, "Oh yeah, talks with Time Warner are going great. They're going great." Why? Like, and that's the thing. Like, I feel like they're kind of a liability for Warner Brothers Discovery because how many times have they gotten fined now for F-bombs by the the FCC and stuff like that? So I don't know, man. Like I'm just. And I like I'm not praying for the downfall of AEW at all. I like the fact that there are two wrestling organizations out there. Do I think AEW needs to do some things to make themselves more watchable for like your average viewer? Yes, because they're 100% hardcore wrestling fan. Like they're all about action, and there's not a whole lot of emphasis on story, and there's not really a good structure there of leadership because it's almost like the inmates are running the asylum. So, and just because Tony Khan has more money than anybody doesn't mean that TV companies are going to want to put their product on TV, because if they're not drawing ratings and they're getting them fined all the time, like that's a recipe for disaster. So I really hope that they figure something out. Like that it might take like a reset, maybe a couple years on a smaller network to kind of prove themselves and then build themselves back up. But I don't know, man. Like, we'll see what happens. But that would be a huge domino to fall if Raw ends up on TNT.
Freaking nuts! Just give me the exploding vagina. Yeah. Like Nitro.
Right.
You're welcome.
All right. I'd say exploding vagina is the levity we needed to end the show on after everything else. So we'll go ahead and call it there. We're about an hour anyway. So
thank
you guys for listening to this week's episode of the show.
Hey.
Kevin only flipped upside down one time for us, so he'll have to pull out some more party tricks on the next episode. I just see your hand. There you go. But anyway, we're gonna go out like we came in. But thank you guys for listening to this week's episode of the show. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Like I said, send us your top 5 list of your best storylines, your best holy shit moments, and it could be WWE heavy, AEW heavy, whatever. Just send it to us at Live Your Gimmick. That's the @ symbol followed by LIVYOURGIMMICK on X. Hopefully we'll get Riley in for the next episode. I think next week we're going to do top 5 men, top 5 women. So I think that's the route we're going to go with that. Or we could do maybe we could do men, women, and then like best matches or something like that. If we if we have time. So depending on how long it takes to get through the men and women list. So, but yeah, man, we'll crown our Gimmick Minute Wrestler of the Year on next week's episode, because that'll be probably our last episode of 2023, and then we'll be back to start getting ready for the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Can't wait. What's that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're both probably watching the same thing. So, but the Saints possibly coming back on the LA Rams here. But anyway, hey, thanks you guys a lot for listening. For Kevin, my name is Jason, reminding you smarts out there to always be a fan and always live your gimmick. Michael. And if you have Chris Olave like I do on your fantasy team, fuck yeah. Good night, everybody. There you go. All right. See you guys.